thank you guys for having me in here, in your little space.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for being with us.
I know. I feel so special.
This is quite a quiet place.
Yes, it's very quiet. I mean, we got our own surround sound going on over there.
Yeah, I can't even hear that right now.
No, definitely.
It's so quiet.
Does somebody say anything?
Do you guys hear some really heavy metal music?
That's just the
I think it's the wind, yeah.
I think it's the wind too. Sometimes the wind here creates musical notes too. It's part of being in a music studio. You have to really get used to
The forces of nature.
Yeah. I think sometimes the music speaks to you.
Alright, so tell me, who are you guys? I'm pretty sure a lot of people are curious to know, who are you?
Who wants to answer that? Should I hand the invisible microphone to DNA here? Nikki.
My name is Nikki, and I play guitar in the band.
There's two guitars.
I know. I play one of two guitars.
He's a left-handed.
He's a left-handed.
That explains enough. He's cursed.
Yeah, Nikki is our left-handed guitarist, and I am our right-handed guitarist. I play rhythm, and he plays lead.
What's your name?
It's not important.
Anonymous boy. Okay, I'm Chantel. I play drums.
I'm Ortway, and I emit sounds from my vocal cords.
And my name is BNA, and I play bass.
Alright, so how did you guys all become a band? Like, how did you guys meet and everything?
Well, I guess I could probably answer that one. It's easier. I think MOAS Center was already an idea that was sort of playing around in my head for a while, and during the pandemic, Chantel, who didn't even know how to play drums at all whatsoever, she decided that she wanted to commit to learning how to play. And in a matter of time, she got her own drum set. She started playing songs that she knew from heart. And I met Tamayo later at a park, just randomly. I think I was walking my dog, and I believe I was wearing a Dark Throne shirt, was it? And Tamayo's a huge fan of black metal, so I guess it was sort of an instant connection when he recognized the shirt that I was wearing, which sounds very cliche, but it is true. I guess sometimes when you wear a band shirt and somebody else sees it, they're just like, whoa, like that guy likes that band too, and start having a conversation. And a band that we both liked, that we had in common besides like Mayhem and Dark Throne, was Christian Death. And after we talked a lot about music, he came over a few weeks later, and she started jamming with us. So she was on the drums, Tamayo was playing just one sort of rhythm lead guitar, and I was playing the bass. So that's kind of how it started initially. I guess Nikki and I were in a band years before, prior to meeting Tamayo, I wasn't really doing too much music, but the years before that, I was in a band with Nikki and Chantel, and she was the bassist. I was doing vocals and I was playing guitar. He was playing rhythm guitar. So I guess we started thinking we needed another guitar. It would sound a lot more whole if we got two guitarists, bassist, and vocals, drums. And so we met up with Nikki and we jammed a few times, and it just immediately clicked. It felt like there was something there and that we should give it a shot. And I didn't know that she played the bass for a while after meeting her. But it turns out that we needed a bassist, and she played a few of her songs and she played them fairly well. And after that, we went to this whole routine of practicing like 4 times a week, and I guess here we are. We feel like there's something special about the sound.
Yeah, one thing I've always found interesting was all of our songs were originally written for just one guitar. So when Nicky came in, he wrote his own parts of the songs, and it really gives a certain element to the sound that wasn't there before. It's a lot more complex than it was originally.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like what Toy was saying, me and Chantal and Toy were in a band like around 2017, 2018. So we already had like that chemistry developed. And then once that band broke up, I mean, when Toy and Tamayo started jamming, and with Chantal too, they were able to develop their chemistry. So when we all got together, that chemistry was already very solid, which made it a lot easier for all of us to just write songs and make things work. And then B&A kind of just fit right into. So, yeah.
Do you guys think it's easier since you guys are in an original band? And I think you guys only did like one cover. It was like a Smiths cover, the last show.
Oh, no, that was actually a joke. Sometimes
I don't know. I'm so confused.
No, sometimes like I find it ironic because we'll play one of our heaviest songs, relatively heavy song, and I just say that's a cover by the Smiths so that people can get excited about it, and then they're waiting for that moment that we start singing like "I would go out tonight" or something, But then you hear these really heavy, chuggy chords, coming from Tamayo's guitar, and it just as soon as the song starts, like I think it would be funny to see people's reaction, just completely confused and bewildered by the whole thing. But it's purely just a joke.
Trying to find out what Smith's song it could possibly be.
That's what I mean. It's like it must be one of the B-sides. Totally, yeah. No, it's just fucking. Sometimes I say a lot of stupid things on stage. Definitely.
I think that's the point.
Yeah, just because I get nervous too. Like sometimes I don't even know what to say, and it's like I don't really want to face the crowd, so like I'll just say something funny. Sometimes it's not funny.
Okay, so would you guys ever want to do a cover?
Yes.
Yes.
Who would you want to cover?
Well, I remember they showed me something before I joined. They showed me a cover of "Smile Like You Mean It" by The Killers, but it was like MOASified, and I've been begging Mortway in the band to like learn the bass parts for that song because I really want to cover it. So it sounds really cool the way you guys covered and like transformed that song.
I know that is a good one, but I know Tamayo also like you suggested so many songs to try to cover that I can't even remember.
Or even just to take influence from.
Yeah. I think I remember you said something about The Clash.
Oh,
You guys
what
said
is it?
something
Guns
about-
of Brixton.
Yeah,
I said that we
yeah.
should make a MOAS version of Guns of Brixton. That'd be neat.
Yeah. I think it would be fun to do cover, like as long as we don't.
We have to recreate it in our own
Yeah,
image.
yeah, it should be our own rendition, and like maybe sometimes making covers to the point where you can't even recognize the original song.
Absolutely.
I think that's the real purpose of the cover. I purely dislike when bands have a cover, but it just sounds exactly like the
It's
original.
like a mirror image of the original
Yeah,
song.
it
It's
just
very
doesn't-
boring.
I don't really see the point in that.
I agree on that one.
Also, for the uninitiated, MOAS is an abbreviation of Mavis. So now you know.
Heroes reference.
Yeah, the MOAS Encyclopedia.
Where'd you guys get the name from?
I came up with it after reading this text by, it was written. I traveled through the Mediterranean coast, and no, just kidding. I was reading this text from Carl Jung, and he was talking about how modern art has this mood of destruction, but it must have that mood because of how different things are, modern warfare and with all these political issues, and I guess I took the word sinner as some sort of personal interpretation of seeing someone who feels isolated, who feels outcasted, and in a sense is pointed at, as some sort of guilty figure. So it's not necessarily the theological concept of the sinner, but rather something more personal, you know, like feeling like you don't belong anywhere, like you're rejected by people, especially in this society where I've always felt like there are many times where I go somewhere, like even like a bar or a club, and I just feel like I don't belong there. So I thought the mood of a sinner is kind of like a celebration of all the people who simply don't have those means that allow them to adapt in scenarios like, you know, parties or school or even a job. It's not evil or like satanic or and like a lot of people think that we're into Satanism, and I think it's ironic because it's both. Yeah.
My sister asked me the other day, she's like, do you believe in devil worship? And I'm like, why do you ask that? She's like, do you? And I'm like, Sarah, no, the fuck?
Yeah, they're both very religious, and I think it's cool that we're able to say that because obviously there's going to be a lot of misinterpretations with the name and a lot of assumptions of, you know, if we worship the devil or not.
Oh, that's why I see Jesus over here.
Yeah, no, like you'll see a lot of the religious imagery in a sense, because I think as a band, I find it beautiful that we're able to capture things that feel like they're evil, but they're not necessarily that way. It's just more of like this dualism of concepts that sort of blended together, and I think that people in general have, you know, this dualistic side to them, and you can't really deny that there's some things that are negative about ourselves.
The shadow side.
Yeah, and like you go back to Carl Jung again, like talking about, you know, your shadow self and the persona. And I don't know. I guess there's this whole dichotomy of good and evil that is represented throughout our music, but we don't necessarily pair with one of them individually. You know?
Yeah, I have always seen the name of the band as a reference to how everyone is a sinner, but that shouldn't stop you from trying to be the best that you can be. That's just the way it is. And, you know, there's a saying, I forget who it was, but it's, you know, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. Yeah, you can't let your past stop you from bettering yourself going forward.
Who came up with the font?
The font for
Yes, the font.
Oh, I pretty much just found it on some sketchy website,
Free fonts.
and I've never seen it before, so I was just like, and I just kind of edited a little, like I printed the font and then I scratched some parts out and just kind of modified it and changed the size of the letters, and
I like it.
yeah, it's a lot of people have trouble reading it, so.
Yeah, my dad gave me a suggestion. He's like, your band should change the font.
Yeah.
It's hard to read. I'm like,
Yeah.
This is harder.
It's not
No,
like
it's
that.
not.
It's not.
It's not hard to read. Oh my god.
I think if you're not
Pretty
into
simple.
any kind of music that could like remotely resemble metal or just like anything that goes beyond like pop and radio stuff, then you're not really going to be able to read the fonts. Yeah, but I feel like generally speaking, it's not that difficult.
No, it's not. It's so easy. It's so.
Look at it.
Yeah, you can make out.
Just-
You can make out what it says.
It's so easy to read. It's not like it's you know, death metal or deathcore.
Oh, I've seen some fonts that like I genuinely do not
Yeah.
fucking know what it says, but it looks cool. But I just like I wouldn't be able to read it for sure.
It looks like when, like on the road, when they fix like the cracks.
Yeah,
It literally
yeah.
looks like that.
Yeah, my mom also doesn't really like the font. Like she just thinks it's. Well, I don't think she dislikes it. She just didn't really know what it says either.
I mean, it is better when you can actually read the font. When you don't know what it is, and you gotta like, what is the band? You gotta ask them, and it's like.
That is true. Yeah, at the beginning, I would never actually say the name of the band when we were finished performing. It would just be like, you're gonna have to look it up.
So, what are you guys' process when it comes to songwriting? Like, how you guys come up with the
It
lyrics?
usually comes up with the bass line and usually has a guitar riff with that.
Yeah.
So
Pretty much.
far, all of our current, or most of our current material is songs that he has written, and he'll kind of give us, you know, the bare bones of the song, and then we'll all give input
Collaborate.
and all kind of make it all of our own.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
all, it's pretty much overall, it's mainly collaborative. You know, as far as I know, like, I don't think anything we've made is solely one person. Not
No,
entirely,
yeah.
at least, you know.
And it's kind of like a lot of those bass riffs, like they already had them for a while, you know. So like having people to jam with, it was more like I brought all these ideas to the table because I just really wanted to get rid of those songs in a sense, you know what I mean? By getting rid, I mean like, you know, putting them on a record or something. But they were just ideas. They were just like, you know, little recordings here and there, you know, just nothing very well crafted or organized. And so showing it to them, and then it comes all together it turns into a song once you have two guitars that are trying to figure out how can we complement the bass. And I think we are very adamant about not wanting the guitars to follow the bass lines. Like I did hear from one person not too long ago. They said that they like how the guitars sound like they're dueling each other, while the bass is sort of leading the rhythm throughout the song. And I think for the most part, Chantal wrote all the drum beats for the songs. And as to the lyrics, I am normally the person who writes the lyrics, but I always like to go through them to see if there's anything that they think could look, you know, sound or just for aesthetic purposes, you know, more poetic. Or I guess they're kind of a device for me to find out if something could be rewritten.
Yeah, I know that there's been some phrases that I've suggested you've ended up using.
Yeah, like and it's kind of funny like when you mention the lyrics, because it's like I have pretty much working on a record and I have all the songs written. It's just that to me it doesn't feel like they're finished yet, because I'm very obsessive over things like words and ideas, and I guess sometimes I'm so methodical that I don't want to repeat the same words in different songs, which doesn't really make any sense, but I kind of have some type of OCD. So I will go through most of the things that I write with them, and I really much prefer for them to change a line and, you know, make something work out instead of, you know, being vague and not really showing too much interest in what there is to convey.
That makes sense. I mean, I can relate to that, especially when I do all these interviews. Like, if you guys see every single video I've done, every intro is different.
Yeah.
Just I don't like to repeat the same thing.
Yeah, I know, and I think teamwork as a band, like, it's just
Different perspectives and like,
yeah,
inputs.
yeah. There's nothing that you can compare it with. I think working by yourself, sometimes it feels like, you know, you're not really, you see the same lines or you hear the same riff over and over, and you can't even really have your own opinion. It starts becoming too convoluted, and, you know, it turns into a mess. At least for me, you know, I like to know what everyone thinks about every single detail. Like, if somebody doesn't like something about a certain section of the song, I would prefer to change it just so that we were all on the same page. Because then you get bands who, like, some of the members don't like what they're doing, you know, whether it's a single song or an entire record, and then it just feels like they're forced to play that stuff, and it doesn't really work out in the long run, I would say.
What made you guys want to make lyric videos?
Honestly, I'm glad that there are lyric videos to accompany the main videos we put out, because you spend a lot of time like polishing the lyrics, and you want the audience to like know the narrative of the lyrics and the story, because it's a concept album that has this whole storyline, and by like actually reading the lyrics, you're like getting like an idea of what the story is about.
The lyrics, it's like literature, you know? And I think something like we've always wanted to make, I guess, how do I say it? I mean, something we've always wanted to really do with this project is to make it more than just music, you know? Make it something you could see, something you could really touch and feel and embrace, and something you could take home with you, you know? Something you could think about, make people think and make people ask questions, and that's what the lyrics do.
Yeah, it's a concept record, so there is this whole story that is being integrated within every song. So I look at the songs more as chapters, if anything. We haven't really released too many details about the concept record because we're still recording the album and we're still trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen throughout the story. And I guess I don't know if we're going to be playing the characters on stage, but I personally would really like to. But that's something that we still need to discuss and figure out. And the other thing that I think is really special about the record is that, so me and DNA, we both like drawing, and I've always been a fan of comic books. I thought it would be very interesting if we were to display the story in a narration that has both dialogue and an animation. And so I think people will be a lot more involved with this concept record if they were to have some sort of tangible thing, like a comic book, and for each record.
Visuals.
Yeah, and so for each record that we would sell, it would come with a free comic book, and I'm assuming it's going to be quite a lengthy thing because there are 13 songs, which means 13 chapters, and each chapter, will be kind of like a short volume, and there's going to be a lot of details and intricacies that are going to be put into that, but I think overall it's something that I've never really heard another band do before. I think it's also interesting for us to find ways to communicate that's outside of the musical medium or whatever, it's just, I think once you implement art, and visuals and theatrical elements, you stop being a band and become more of a, what's the word? Sort of a community, I guess. Like, people will relate to whether it's the comic book or
The lyrics or the music.
Yeah, the live performances or just like purely the aesthetics, which doesn't really matter. People just like seeing us because of what we wear or whatever. Like anything that you find yourself drawn to, it's fine. And so I guess for me, I've always liked the idea of us being more than just a band. Just a plain rock band that plays rock songs. I think music needs something that is a lot more spiritual than that.
A silly thought I had about the question started with why lyric videos. First thing that came to mind for me was because you're going to have a really hard time making out what he's saying.
Yeah, that too, since the vocals are distorted. A lot of people did ask for a video, so just wanted to please the audience, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of people were happy with it. They're like, yes, lyric videos, yay.
Yeah.
I think someone wrote a comment. I forgot. I don't know if it was the video or the lyric video, but someone said, I got into this band because the singer looks like Peter Steele.
Oh, that's funny. I got in that a few times.
I know. You do.
I
Though.
I don't really see it, but I mean, I'll take it as a compliment. That guy was pretty attractive. Like, I don't think I'm half as attractive as that guy, and pretty scrawny too, and not as big.
Voluptuous.
Yeah, you kind of look like a gladiator, whereas I kind of look like I work at a library or something.
Would you guys ever cover any typo songs?
Oh, certainly. I would think so.
I've always thought it would be fun to, just for a sound check, we could play the very beginning of I Don't Want to Be Me.
Fucking down.
It's funny
Yes.
because he has a pretty decent impression, I think, of Peter Steele. I think it would just be really funny for him to do the intro of I Don't Want to Be Me. I just think it would give people a laugh.
You should do it in your next show.
Yeah, sometimes I make his voice as a joke, just for the sake of humor, but probably not gonna do it right now.
But that would be like, ooh,
It's way too silly. I don't know, should I?
Everyone's gonna be wondering now. They're all gonna be.
Yeah,
wanting
you have
hear
to pay extra if you want to watch the bloopers of me impersonating Peter Steele.
I'm curious how you started with, how you sing. It's very different and melodic, and in that sense, I'm trying to think of words how to describe your singing.
Yeah, it is a little strange. Like, a lot of people actually think that I can't really sing, or that I'm incapable of reaching certain notes. But I guess my voice my style of singing has changed throughout the years. I think I always look for new ways of expressing myself, and back then I was singing with a lower register, more akin to Joy Division or Bauhaus, like that, you know, David Bowie, that kind of stuff. But I mean, some huge influences were, you know, just a few death rock bands and stuff like Christian Death, and a lot of the modern bands too, and even some emo music as well. I guess I was trying to integrate like all these different influences that affected me throughout the years. And what I do is just sort of stress my voice and try to whisper with this tension coming from my throat. And at the same time, I try to integrate melody, which sometimes it's difficult to do. Like, I train my voice to do that, but there are some times where it's just like, damn, I'm probably not going to hit that note, you know? Like, some of it is just very monotone, and there are times where I'm just purely singing, and there's none of that, like, effect. Which almost to me sounds like some kind of distortion, if that makes any sense. I don't know. But I guess the main argument is that I sing that way because I want to sound like I'm in pain most of the time, which I am, so yeah.
He doesn't mean that like to be edgy, like
No,
bro
no.
has a condition.
Yeah. I have this like headache disorder, which like I have a headache most of the time, and so I guess I figured if I really am in pain most of the time, why not sing that way? You know, instead of having this very clean and striving for sort of perfect reaching notes. I thought I wanted to sound more like sort of a romantic whispering tension coming from my voice. I don't even know how to explain it, honestly. That sounds quite vague, but people just say, oh, you sound just like Roz Williams for Christian Death, you know. Like, I don't necessarily think so, but he definitely did have a huge impression on me. Like, I consider them to be one of my favorite bands, but at the same time, I don't think it's necessarily an imitation, but, you know, there are some influences there.
What type of genres do you guys describe your band? Because there's like so many different ones that I've seen, from Deathrock to emo to like other different.
You should tell us. You know the answer to that.
Me?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Didn't you say you were like death disco core the other day?
Maybe like in 2019, but
Yeah.
it's changed drastically since then.
I mean, I like to call it romantic death rock, but it's not just death rock. You know, I think death rock is like a big chord foundation, sort of. You know, but like, I mean, alternative, disco, death. I mean, not death metal, black metal. You know.
I've always thought of, you know, death rock is definitely like the basis of our sound, but we throw in this and that
Anything.
all over.
All
Like
over
that's like the
inspirations.
the frame of the word, the framework of the sound is death rock, but it's a lot more than just that, you know.
Like, in your own words, you guys think you can describe the difference between death rock and say death metal?
Definitely, yeah. So death rock is a lot more. See, that's the thing. Is a lot of times when people hear death rock, they say, "Oh, death metal. You guys sound like Cannibal Corpse, right?" No, it's far from it. No, death rock is much more akin to. You know, when I think death rock, I immediately think goth. You know?
That's what I think so too.
Yeah. So death rock is more akin to, you know, post-punk or something like that.
It's
And
like-
death metal is, of course, you know, death metal.
I see death rock as goth's closest relative to punk.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty much what I see it as it's the goth offshoot of punk. And of course, I'd say it's closer to punk than post-punk a lot of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
I do, yeah. Not too strict though, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, I honestly don't know if we're even like strictly a death rock band at all. I
no,
think
yeah, maybe for now.
I think there are some songs that you can say they're death rock, but but it's too difficult to categorize our sound because all the songs sound very different to me, at least. I feel like we're sort of exploring what we want to sound like this record, but it doesn't seem like we're gonna have an easy time labeling the record. You know, it's gonna be something that each to their own. Like some people would say that we're Deathrock, some people would say it's alternative rock or goth rock, and like
post-punk.
yeah, the post-punk. But I don't know. I feel like it's really unnecessary to try to find labels. Like if you like the record on its own, you know, you don't really have to explain it to others.
I mean,
it's just music, you know. I would just honestly, I would just call it rock music to save yourself some breath, you know, and like all of these mathematics. Of, no, they're not technically that, you know.
Yeah, it's funny. One thing I always think of when people ask, like, oh, what kind of music do you play? I always say, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
oh, someone got mad at me on, because it was like this person that was in a death metal band, and I accidentally said deathcore. He's like, no, it's death metal. I'm like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like a lot of those elitists, they get offended, and like a lot of people have said, like, oh, you guys are posers because you're not really death rock, you know, or like you sound nothing like a real death rock
they're like
band.
they're akin to Reddit mods, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the Reddit
yeah.
moderators have to kind of poke at you with stuff.
Yeah, like I heard people say, like, you know, like you just sound like the Strokes, like trying to be death rock, right, and then you don't reach that like true, authentic raw sound, and
It's like whatever.
it doesn't really matter, to be honest.
Too.
Yeah, we've never really said out there, like, we're just purely a death rock band, and we're never gonna make any other song that's relatively different.
You get pretty bored.
But what are you guys looking to accomplish within your new record that you're working on, and any other new shows? Because I think you guys have one next week, right?
Yeah.
This week.
Well,
This week.
whatever.
The
it's
City
I'm
of
still working on
Angels.
time.
The City of Devils, honestly.
I mean, what are we trying to accomplish? I mean,
World domination.
I see it right now. I kind of try to take this band week by week. Let's see if we make it to next Sunday. But I mean, like long term in quotes. Like by the end of the year, we want to have an album done. You know what I mean? Short term, record at least monthly, bi-monthly. You know, and hopefully by the end of the year we have that done. That's just like 1 year's goal.
You guys ever gonna start headlining?
I don't know about that.
To
Who
be
knows?
determined.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Next episode.
And it doesn't really matter,
Stay
honestly.
tuned.
Like, I don't really understand why that's even a thing where like people are like, oh, well, you're the opening band. Like, you know, a lot of the times I've seen opening bands that sound way better than the headlining bands, and you know, I don't say anything, but it's just like I feel like everyone in the crowd knows that opening band sounds much more interesting, but they don't have the same following on social media or the manager, and
It's a great opportunity to be exposed to new sounds and new things.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's how I got exposed to you guys, because my friend, she's friends with the singer of New Skeletal Faces, and then she told me about the show, and that's how I found you guys the first time. I'm like, I personally think I'm not interviewing them, but because I wasn't really a fan of their sound. I'm like, it's like a screeching owl out my ears.
Oh man.
But then I saw you guys perform. Yeah. Oh no, I'm sure they're all are great guys. I'm just saying, music wise, it wasn't really my taste. But then when I saw you guys perform, like, oh, I love it.
Aww.
That's really nice of you. Yeah, I think the record is meant to have an emotional impact on people because we are touching a lot of subjects that are relative with the woes of today and
So many. Like,
yeah, if you really think about it, like there's a lot of delicate subjects that you are really gonna have to expose yourself to when you listen to this record, and I don't know, I think we really are spilling our guts out, and everything about it is authentic. You know, we're not trying to put on I mean, we certainly do put on a show like when we perform, but I think like
that's because like we just love like the
Yeah.
theatrics of it, and we love performing.
yeah, but I do think overall the fact that we're not using any electronics, the fact that it's all done by people and not machines. And I guess some of the subjects that are discussed to me just feels like it's definitely something that should be relevant within a person's life, no matter if you listen to Deathrock or country music or jazzcore. You know, it doesn't really matter. I think the record's there to speak to people who feel like they're in need of some sort of emotional attention.
Would you guys ever incorporate any electronics, like in an industrial type way?
We like discussed it.
Maybe.
I think that'd be really cool.
Maybe someday.
Drum machines.
Yeah, but you know, like I am really proud of the fact that we don't use any of that stuff because.
Or just one song?
Yeah, maybe. But I think it's just I don't know. I think there's some sort of distinction between the goth music that has, you know, organic instruments like, you know, a real drum set and a real bass guitar. Whereas like now, when you look up goth music, you get that the whole like dark wave movement, which I personally am not really a fan of. I'll admit, it's just not really my thing. I feel like most of it sounds like it's recycled and it's very generic in a sense.
Basic formula.
Yeah,
Very.
you know, it's just you have this drum machine with a very, you know, monotonous, predictable beat, and then you have it almost sounds like it's always the same singer, you know, with this really low baritone voice, and it's almost like always the same bass notes, and I don't know, I don't feel anything when I listen to that music. It feels very robotic and cold, and it almost feels like, I don't know, like a cash register is making music, you know?
It's like AI.
Yeah. It
Generated.
feels like artificial intelligence, and then you watch those guys perform,
And it's
and
even so
and
boring.
honestly, yeah, I
It's the most
think,
boring thing in the world.
yeah, I think it's
Sad.
almost like you're ripping off your audience because you're paying like $20 or $30 to get in to watch a guy like press OK on his computer, you know, and they're playing all these backtracks, and it's like a karaoke
it's
night.
live karaoke,
Yeah, all the music is being played by their computer or synth or whatever, and they're just singing along to it, and I just feel like it's very soulless. Like I personally don't really support it in any sense, but if other people like it, you know, that's just the way that the music today is. But I think I'm really proud of the fact that we're able to say we're not using any of that stuff, you know.
Even if we do want to take that route, like for example, industrial, which
Yeah.
uses like a lot of like electronic machines, we
Mhm.
would try to like imitate such effects using our instruments.
I think so. I think
That's
that would
a
be
smart
interesting
move.
if we did approach electronic music,
Could have to
you know,
be-
in a different way, just sort of, I guess, challenging ourselves to find.
The first thing that came to my mind when you said industrial was, you know, usually for me at least, when I think industrial music, the first thing that comes to mind is the sound of the drums. And I thought maybe we could do something in the studio with, you know, drum triggers on the set,
Mhm.
on the kit, I mean, and have it sound, you know, more industrial.
Yeah. As long as whatever's being played is being played by an actual person.
Even if it's like
Yeah.
a metal pot.
Yeah, like you certainly could make. I feel like that sort of industrial music in the very beginning, it was actually made by like just a lot of just very DIY creative stuff, like hitting a pan or something, you know, and like
Throwing
using-
stuff on the ground.
Yeah, just using a bunch of tapes and kind of just cutting them up and adding some delay and reverb and, you know, mixing everything up, and then you have this sort of collage of sounds. I think that is really fun and interesting, but the type of music that we're making right now is not very relevant with that genre, even though I do like some of that stuff, you know.
What are you guys' hobbies, besides since you guys are in this band? What do you guys like to do?
Work.
I suddenly forgot what I like to do.
You like to whip it up in the kitchen.
Yeah, cooking is cool.
I like cooking too.
I like spending time with my dog. Do you guys know what my hobbies are? I recently got into leatherworking, so I guess that's become one. Like clothes, modifications, stuff.
Oh, we love that. That's probably like our hobbies is just
Yeah.
like going to thrift stores and looking for fits and getting dressed up and then putting outfits together. We love to modify clothes and we hope to like modify pieces and like sell them to our fans because we want them to be part of like the Mood of the Sinner universe. And yeah, we love fashion. We spend a lot of time
I like,
cutting stuff up.
I like reading in general. I like drawing. Going on walks is pretty nice too, but I haven't really done much of that. Procrastinate a lot, but when I do, it's very enjoyable.
This fool said work.
Work. I guess. It's my. What do you like to do?
Hobbies of mine. Well, it may surprise you, but music is a big hobby of mine. You know, I'm always listening to music. I'm always writing lyrics or songs or whatever. I literally have a guitar on my bed at all times. I'll be laying there in the middle of the night. I'll wake up and I'll have a melody in my head. I'll reach over, just laying there in my bed, playing guitar in the dark. Yeah, I don't have anyone to lay with me in my bed, so I just have my guitar.
No, you don't call anybody up at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Be like, hey, listen to this.
Sometimes, yeah. And then what's it called? Yeah, I really like reading. I go on walks a lot, things like that. Yeah.
We like to party. That's like.
We throw some crazy ragers.
Yeah.
Besides music for me, I really love theology.
You like to study it.
Yeah. I mean, I play music every day. I don't even consider that a hobby. It's just what I do. You know what I mean?
I could say the same. I can't think of it.
So yeah. And obviously, I mean, I fucking work a lot. That takes a lot of free time out. But besides music and working, I don't know. Theology involves music. I mean, involves all kinds of stuff. Mainly reading though.
You goes to church a lot.
Daily mass. I'm just kidding.
He speaks to God often. So he's always confessing his sins.
Has he called back?
Always.
Yeah, every time he plays a show, he has to go confess the next day. I was in Mood of a Sinner.
Sinning.
I guess I'll throw in I also really enjoy philosophy. You know, just reading articles and watching videos and discussions of that sort. I think it's interesting when you engage in discussions that involve rationalizing thoughts and comparing your views with other individuals. I always really find that interesting. Sometimes it can get a little hectic when you find disagreements with other people, but I'm pretty passive, so I do like hearing what other people think about the conditions of the world and the state that we're in. Yeah. What are your hobbies?
Okay, so my hobbies are gluten-free cooking. I love reselling clothes. I love finding clothes, vintage pieces. I love fashion. I love modifying clothes. What else? I love watching old-ass movies, like 1920s, 1930s movies. I also love like collecting VHS tapes and like watching them on like this little TV my like bestie gave me. I love reading. I love drawing. I love working with metal. I just love doing things with my hands. Like anything that involves me creating something with my hands, like love it.
How would you guys describe your fashion sense? Because you guys have a very unique style.
Clinically depressed for me.
I would say for myself, I just like being comfortable. Whatever I end up wearing, it's just whatever is comfortable.
I try to stay simple. That's it, really.
He wears a corporate goth look.
Can you repeat your question?
Sure. How would you describe your fashion sense?
Okay, so recently I've been really into like 1920s actresses and their form of dressing, like Victorian style too, like with all the ruffles and like the sheer like fabric and just like the extraness of it. I also love like industrial like fashion, like worn leather and just like big pieces of like metal jewelry, boots, mini skirts, corset tops, blouses. So yeah, like 1920s actress meets Victorian ghosts that died of tuberculosis, crosses. Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, like in the 90s.
His tuberculosis style.
His tuberculosis style
That era.
specifically.
1993 specifically.
1993, the tuberculosis.
When he didn't
Pandemic.
have kids.
He has kids?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's a total dad now. He wears like cargo.
Khakis.
Yeah, he wears those cargo shorts too.
I want to see him with like the gloves up to here. Like,
Yeah, where did that guy go? You know, he used to be hot.
He retired.
Yeah.
Shanti?
Hating, you guys living the dream.
I'm living in 1993.
Lately it's been black and leather and jewelry on the clothes, I guess. I don't know. Also,
You have like a very like westerny like style.
dude, not anymore. I don't even want to. That has passed.
It
like-
was a phase,
It
Mom.
was a phase.
It was just a phase, Mom. The way I see them, like their styles. So Tammy is like Pachuco goth,
It's like pre-vato vato.
pre-vato vato, where they would wear like the zoot suits.
It's
So he has that like Pachuco goth thing going on, and then he has like dark priesty vibes. But recently he says he wants to go for like the corporate goth look. So he's like corporate goth, and then I'm everything I just said. And then she's the heavy metal cowgirl because she did have like a very like westerny vibe to her, but like heavy with like leather and like studs and like metal pieces everywhere.
Yeah.
And then you're Victorian vampire.
I guess so. The vampire of the band.
Okay, you guys have any pre-show rituals?
Doing our makeup, well, for me.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
we forcefully like have to do their makeup, but it's so much fun.
They're so inept that they just don't know how to do their own makeup.
It's okay, I don't wear makeup at all. Like, I literally don't even know how to do
You're
it.
like, Tammy, do you want some lipstick? And he'll be
Yeah.
like,
Cherry blossom lipstick,
I
please.
don't mind the makeup, it's just I'm not very good at applying it myself.
Yeah, he needs help with that.
I feel that I never learned how to do makeup either, so it's less work for us. I feel you.
Yeah,
But I mean, I'll put like shit on my lips sometimes, I guess.
it's weird for me because I grew up so sheltered and controlled from my relatives. So it was weird because they were really against my alternative style, but yet they wanted me to wear makeup.
Yeah.
But yet they didn't want me to date. So that's confusing.
I hate controlling people.
Yeah, no,
Not
it
good.
sucks.
but yeah, makeup is definitely one for me. I love the whole ritual of like getting ready and like, because you're like entering like another, not an ego, like an alter ego, but like a different, like, what's the word? Different level, I don't know. But that's my pre-show ritual.
Getting in the MOAS.
Get in the MOAS, exactly. And then he makes us like tinctures with like kava and gives it to us.
Yeah. I guess my pre-ritual, like, just individually, is just having a few drinks. So I can loosen up and feel like, you know.
Yeah.
Like herbal supplements.
That too, you know, it's like, it'd be a cocktail of kava and whiskey and
Skull cap.
ashwagandha, like a skull cap, yeah.